Markelle Fultz was the #1 pick in 2017.
The Philadelphia 76ers select Markelle Fultz.
But now can't find a single franchise to sign him. He was supposed to be the next big thing in the NBA and a final piece to the 76ers championship puzzle. The process involved tanking and being patient while getting the best pick in the draft, but destiny had other plans for Philly. Instead of starting a dynasty, this was the beginning of another sad basketball story that ended with bitter disappointment. The next basketball prodigy turned into a bust.
Right now, it appears to be the biggest bust in NBA history.
And he wasn't even at fault, well, depending on who you ask. Markelle Fultz's tragic downfall will always rank among the greatest what-ifs in the history of the sport, almost the same as with D-Rose. Hello basketball fans, and welcome to Hoop Vision. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It takes only a second, costs nothing, and will give you access to more basketball stories. When Markelle Fultz was a high school student at DeMatha Catholic High School, he was one of the world's most promising basketball players. Fultz had enormous shoes to fill because this school had a good reputation of producing some all-NBA players, such as Adrian Dantley and Victor Oladipo. However, things weren't going well for him at DeMatha in the beginning of his journey. Due to his 5'9" height, he was cut from the varsity squad in his sophomore year. Fortunately, he had a massive growth spurt that resulted in a full 6 inches of growth before his junior season. He had no idea how drastically this growth spurt would alter his course in life. Already an extremely talented basketball player, Fultz suddenly had the height necessary to be considered a serious NBA potential. In his junior year, he demonstrated this by averaging 16.8 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 4.3 assists per game as the starting point guard for the team. This made him a target for attention from colleges across the nation, particularly the University of Washington, where he would eventually commit to play college basketball prior to his senior year at DeMatha. Given that Washington wasn't particularly recognized for nurturing talent or creating NBA players, this commitment was viewed as intriguing. Isaiah Thomas was the most well-known NBA talent to emerge from Washington. He was selected with the final choice of his draft, but that was irrelevant anymore. Even casual fans knew Fultz as a well-known recruit, but everything would change in his senior year. He had committed to Washington already, but he still had a great deal to prove. With 278 assists as a senior, he broke the DeMatha single-season record for assists. He went on to average 19 points and 8.8 rebounds per game. After graduating as one of the top 3 recruits in the nation, he proved that he was a ball handler with incredible smoothness and an even greater finisher. Seeing him play at the collegiate level was exciting, as it appeared that nobody could stop him. In Washington, Fultz seemed to improve even further. Due to DeJounte Murray and Marquise Chris's early NBA draft announcements, Washington was a bad squad overall, but Fultz alone kept fans interested in every game. With an astounding average of 23.2 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, Markelle Fultz made basketball look effortless. Before the 2017 NBA draft, he was considered by many to be the best player. In a draft that had standout players like Lonzo Ball and Jason Tatum, everyone seemed to be certain that Fultz would be the first pick. That is, everyone except Boston Celtics general manager Danny Ainge. After picking Jaylen Brown the year before, the Celtics seemed ready to choose Fultz with the first overall choice. Fultz was seen by many as Boston's missing component, but in an unexpected turn of events, the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers struck a unique pre-draft trade in which the Celtics gave up 2 selections and gave Philadelphia the opportunity to select Fultz first overall. The 76ers selected University of Washington's Markelle Fultz with the first choice in the 2017 NBA draft. Ainge claimed that Tatum was always the person for Boston, even though everyone else had Fultz at the top of their boards. There were complications involved, even if one could argue that this choice made sense given Boston's guard depth at that moment, which included Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Isaiah Thomas. Coming off a hip injury, Thomas was a liability defensively, while Marcus Smart was more of an elite two-way guard. Fultz was viewed as a player with exceptional two-way potential, whereas Brown was more of a small forward. People used to compare him to Dwayne Wade, but he had a superior three-point shot, and because of his length, he could develop into one of the league's best defenders. In retrospect, given Fultz's professional trajectory and Boston's championship win under Jason Tatum, it seems like Ainge made the right decision. Due to their commitment to their youthful core of Joel Embiid, Markelle Fultz, and Ben Simmons, the Philadelphia 76ers generated a lot of buzz at the time of the selection. The Oklahoma City Thunder of the early 2010s were compared to this trio, which created so much hope and enthusiasm for the city of brotherly love. Fans were expecting big things from this talented roster, and the 76ers were the subject of extraordinary hype. The excitement, nevertheless, did not last long. Fultz sustained an injury in just 4 games of his rookie year that appeared minor at first, but ended up being one of the most bizarre in NBA history. The 76ers explained that that Fultz completely lost his shooting form due to a serious muscular problem in his right shoulder. His free throw shooting was also impacted by this strange injury, which resulted in an unusual technique that confused both players and fans. Fultz's situation was surrounded by skepticism. Many thought he was just suffering from the yips or was having trouble adjusting to the spotlight of the NBA, but eventually, the 76ers acknowledged the severity of his injury, which utterly destroyed Fultz's hopes of having an early impact. That was a bizarre and regrettable turn of events for everyone. It was clear from watching his brief summer league film that Fultz's shooting technique had changed significantly. Still, it's not like there weren't signs. There was an apparent decline in Markelle Fultz's shooting form following his tenure at the University of Washington. Even though he had proven he could make jump shots while playing in college, his efficiency suffered greatly when he entered the NBA. Due in major part to persistent nerve injury, he was only able to play 33 games over the course of 2 seasons with the Philadelphia 76ers, displaying some of the lowest efficiency in the league. Fultz was forced by this medical condition to entirely relearn how to jump shoot, but sadly, he was never able to achieve his previous level of shooting ability. When questioned in 2021 how his shoulder injury affected his jump shot, Fultz said it felt like someone was pushing his arm back as if he was wearing a suit jacket that was too small. He went on to describe his difficulties with free throw pump fakes, adding that he frequently lost sensation in his hands. He clarified, "I would get here and I wouldn't feel like the ball was in my hand. My muscles are pushing on my nerve, which is cutting my feeling off." It's hard to understand how frustrated he must have felt at this point. Fultz was able to demonstrate some promising moments despite these obstacles. Considering his struggles with the ball, he accomplished a remarkable milestone by being the youngest player to post a triple-double. Even though the player was only 20 years old, the 76ers finally decided they had enough and gave up on the previous first overall pick. Numerous what-if situations became possible as a result of this decision. Could you picture Fultz playing with Jimmy Butler and the other Sixers playing as their 6th man in 2019? Whether he would have made a difference in their playoff series against the Toronto Raptors is a question that arises from the possibility that his contribution was crucial, particularly defensively. Sadly, we will never be able to find out. For Fultz, the move to the Orlando Magic turned out to be more than positive. He could now concentrate on improving his skills without having to worry about carrying a team. He played an average of 27 minutes a game in his debut season with the Magic, and his game started to get better. On the floor, he showed greater energy and even tried out a new jump shot. Even while he continued to shoot poorly from outside, he made significant progress with his mid-range shot compared to his time in Philadelphia. Fultz wasn't quite a superstar yet, but it appeared Orlando had found a reliable core player in him. With an average of more than 5 assists per game, he established his position as the starting point guard, and many had begun to wonder if Philadelphia had made a serious mistake in dealing him away. Just as Fultz was starting to show off his star scoring potential, he suffered a season-ending torn ACL, which unfortunately ended his 2nd season in Orlando. Point guard Cole Anthony, who had previously been selected by the Magic in the 1st round of the 2020 draft, had excelled as a rookie and took over his spot. In order to add competition in the backcourt, they also selected Jalen Suggs, another guard, with the 5th overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft. Fultz seemed destined to be the man behind these young guards when he returned in February 2022. But after tearing his ACL, Fultz went on to play some of his best basketball, particularly in 2023. Regaining his starting spot after Cole Anthony was benched, he started 60 games, set career highs in assists, steals, rebounds, and points per game, in addition to a career-best 51.4% field goal percentage. His spectacular plays and assists gave the impression that he was finally reaching his full potential as the 1st overall pick. Despite his success, Orlando made the strange choice to select Anthony Black with a top 6 pick, point guard. Considering the depth of their backcourt, and especially with Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner leading the attack. With his surgically repaired knee suffering from tendinitis last season, Fultz was only able to play in half of the games and averaged only about 20 minutes a night, down from his 30 minutes the year before. It appeared his time in Orlando was running out, and he would need to look for work with another organization. Surprisingly though, Fultz is still a free agent as the season approaches near given his potential. His career has been characterized by unrealized promise, especially in an odd way. He lost his NBA shooting skill, an ongoing theme throughout his journey. Fultz experienced yet another setback just as it appeared he was getting back on track. Hard to imagine he would never play to his full potential, but if any team is ready to take a risk on him, he might definitely become a fan favorite. Teams could be hesitant to spend money on a player with such a troubled past though. It makes sense. Teams want to be sure they can stay healthy before spending a lot of money on a signing, especially with the new CBA rules. Still, his playmaking skills and athleticism alone make him more valuable than many other players who currently have a spot in the NBA. That's it for today, Hoop Fam. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments what NBA team would Fultz fit into. Thank you for watching and growing this channel. Make sure you don't miss out on more NBA stories by hitting that subscribe button. See you in the next one.